Hey, shalom, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of My Take with Rosh Ya'acob. I am your host, Rosh Ya'acob ben Abraham, Rabbi of Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation. On this channel, we discuss real life situations and we look at it through the lens of the Torah and the eyes of the sages. Try to get a deeper understanding on how to deal with these situations as our ancestors would have, as it was laid down for us to do it. And of course, y'all know today is Thursday. On Thursdays, we have our rules of engagement. And it's a special rules of engagement. This is really an updated rules of engagement. So that's why, if you notice, the picture was sort of similar, but it had two individuals on it that wasn't on it at first, namely antondaniels and YHWH. And these brothers are on this because I said something. I said something last week on the show, dealing with relationships. And I want to go back to what I said so we can discuss what I said. And then it was brought to my attention that I didn't say everything accurately as I should. And then I looked back over the video and I saying that my brother was correct and bringing it to my attention and saying, hey, Ak, you said this, but I think you was a little off right here. Check back into it. And you know me, I'm not the type of person be like, no, I know I'm right. And I'm like, okay, let me check back into this. No. My brother said something. I said, let me look and see what he's talking about. I looked back over the actual video because I didn't look at the video. I think I seen that video during the summer that I talked about or I referenced. So I got a lot of it, but I remembered the gist of it. And we was talking about the gist of it that I remembered, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, that's the gist of it, but this is this, that is that. So I'm like, you know what, let me just touch on it and talk about it all over again. So that's basically the rundown of what's going to happen. I'm going to go back over what I said last week that sparked this whole rewind and update, and then I'm going to go over the actual information that I reference so we can get a breakdown of that and look at that from a Hebraic perspective as well. So I said, well, hey, this is what it is. So again, if I say something on the show that you disagree with or you question, send me an email, send me something on Facebook or what have you. Say something in a comment or the chat to let me know, hey, I kind of disagreed with you on that. Send me something to let me know that you disagree with me, so that once you say I kind of disagree with you on that, then we'll know how to go from there. All right, so make sure that you do that. I'm available and all of that. So from here, we're going to go ahead and introduce our sponsor. We've been sponsored by Art of Clothing. Go ahead and touch or deal with the sponsor. Our sponsor, the Art of Clothing, and we're going to deal with their situation and go from there. So without further ado, we have our sponsor, Brother Alex, doing some big things down there. All this stuff is in the description. Art of Clothing. All right. The Art of Clothing. All right, so that's our brother Alex over there. We about to touch on what I said last week to get it to this point. Then we're going to go from there. Bring back up the video from so we can show them. All right, so here it is, video from last week. It might be better if I just show the video since it's me. It looked weird, me looking at me. I did that on Friday's show for the Torah show, and I just was like, that was just weird. I was just like, that was weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out straight there. Then we can go through this. And then I can pause and talk over. Maybe go south. We're going to see how it works. We're going to see how it works. Anyway, this is me talking about the issue last week. This is what sparked the cold conversation that we're going to deal with now. Uncle Shannon Sharp is on Club Shay Shay, and he's having this discussion about women with children being delusional. And I let him go into what he means by them being delusional. This is by J6626. I got all the J6626 information within the description, along with Liam's information within the description. If you guys want to follow them or like them or look at any more information or reels or stuff that they made. And this is the reel that Jay posted.
Won't accept that the type of person that they're attracted to don't even like them.
The man that you looking for ain't necessarily looking for you.
Now, this is true. All right, so right here is where I'm about to break down something about what Shannon Sharp and the guy was saying. Just trying to show that, you know, this idea of this is true. You do have a situation where a lot of times we have people with unreasonable expectations, and you know, it's hard to really bring them back to light and say, hey, you kind of off with this. This is one of those situations where they were kind of off. Okay, this is true, right? You know, the men that's rich aren't necessarily checking with these young ladies. They got a few children for whatever reason that they have them. So I was coming off with it like that, but then I wanted to make sure that it didn't come off like I was trying to attack the women or look down on them or degrade them. And I think that's where I'm going to start to go. But first, I'm going to touch on the issue and deal with exactly what they were saying, which was true. That we just got to be realistic. You just got to be realistic. A lot of women, especially our sisters who got children, they seem to feel like, you know, they are the exception, and these rich dudes with money is just out here beating down the doors to get with them. And it's not true. It's the hard fact. I mean, and what I try to tell sisters is, you know, sometimes you just gotta, you know, if the man come and he's willing to accept you and your child and be in your life, you can't look and say, well, you gotta cross this, that, and the other as far as being rich and it got all this wealth and all these other things that you putting up on this high gotta be making this many figures and be with me. You forgetting that you got stuff that kind of took away from you on the market. And a lot of sisters don't want to hear that, you know, but it's true, you know, and like he's saying, watch how he puts this.
Like they want a rich man. Ain't no rich dude sitting around like, I wonder what Keisha with them 3 kids is up to. I feel like changing a life today. It don't happen.
So, and he said it in a joking way, but that's real. Nobody rich is sitting around saying, I wonder what Keisha with the 3 kids is doing. This, that, out. If anything, they got the money and stuff like that. Now, what I was trying to get the point I was trying to bring out right there, and I hate let me just do it. The point I was trying to bring out right there, I'm about to say I hate giving commentary for myself, but the point I was trying to make right there was basic. What I'm trying to say is not you don't deserve, because sometimes when you try to say something, a lot of our sisters say you don't deserve. Nobody's saying you don't deserve. Now, some brothers are saying you don't deserve. That's not what I'm saying over here. Only the Father know what you deserve and don't deserve. I'm not going to say what you deserve and don't. That's all up to the Almighty. What I am going to say is being realistic. You got to see, Father might be trying to bring somebody into your life that's going to help edify you and build you up with your children. It's going to be there for you. A good man. A good man is not measured by how much money he has. So that was the whole thing, because notice they're talking about rich men. Just because you rich don't mean you're a good man. Just because you rich don't mean you got morals. Just because you rich don't mean you really is supportive and going to do this, that, and the other for her. And unfortunately, a lot of our sisters looking for this come up and looking to get some dude that got money, and they bypass the dude that could help build them into where they need to be. They bypass that dude and run to this rich dude. So that's the main thing that I was trying to get out of that situation right now. They looking for somebody who don't got no children. Somebody that they might could do different things with and build stuff with. But they not looking for somebody that got children. If they are, they not looking to really be in that person's life. If they are with you, they not looking to be in your life. You know, they looking probably to just go on and maybe, you know, call itself having fun with you. But as far as them checking for you, they're not checking for you on that level that you want them to. And unfortunately, you might end up with another child by them. Now, of course, then you can try to come up on a come up and say, yeah, now I'm going to get them for whatever. But now, that situation right there, what I meant by that is you could get comfortable. She could be believing he really love me. He really want to be with me. But the whole time this dude could just be a player. And then end up just leaving you in an even deeper situation than what you already started off in. So that's why I'm looking at it like, just look for the right dude. Don't worry about he gotta be rich. He can be rich and busting you in your head. Make sure he got morals. Make sure he's supportive. That's what I'm trying to say. Now you got 4 kids. You see what I'm saying? And what we talking about in community building, we not talking about, yeah, I got over on it. If you want them type of women in the community, then you falling short with that. You know? And nobody's judging the young lady for having kids. You know, things happen. You could have been with somebody
there was your husband and he died.
Exactly.
Can I fault you for being with a man and he died?
No, you cannot.
Well, what I'm going to say to that? You got some men on different things, on those different channels that want to be able to say crazy stuff. They will say that, oh, yeah. And when she say he died, wow, oh, wow. And what lifestyle? He was a pookie there. Was he a pookie? They try to come up with something, be able to say something slick to you to try to evade around that situation with you or that child so they can keep this preconceived notion of you in their brains, right?
There's some dudes out there like
so here you got a situation where you can't do that. You don't know what happened. She could have been married and her husband was abusive. Then you might have somebody like an Anton and say, well, you need to just figure it out and work it out.
Now, this is the part that was contention. So all the stuff I said up to that point, the brother was already with, to a degree, maybe. I don't know. I'm feeling like the brother was all right with everything I said up to that point because he didn't mention none of the other stuff I said. He talked about what I said about Anton as far as Anton saying, work it out. Right? Now, all that comes from a discussion that Anton had on the Hardly Initiative show. I believe that's the name of the show. I think it's called Hardly Initiated. So all that's coming from the Hardly Initiated show. And on the Hardly Initiated show, they actually had a debate. They host debates where people debate against each other. And it's like a forum outside of your forums. Because, sometimes, like we seen with No Fugazi, when on a show I did with him, he went against Captain Tasariak. And he was on his forum and how he controlled the whole thing to the end. He kept saying, I'm going to answer your question. And he answered his question to the end. And then when he answered, he was like, that's why I waited to answer it, because it was easy and I won. And it was like, dang, man, what's going on, right? So that's the same situation we see right there. So what people do is they come on Hardly Initiated and say, I want to debate against this brother. And they host the debate. So that way they control it. They got the questions. They not going to let one person dominate the whole conversation. If you answer this person's question, they're going to force the other person to answer your question. Excellent show. Sort of like what Sarnetta does on his show. Where he had the debates. He'd bring people on and he'll referee between the debate and he'll give you a certain amount of time. So it's structured. So it's a structured debate forum that people use, and that's what them two brothers was on. They was on this forum. Now, I'm going to rewind it back a little bit to what I said, Edtar said, because I believe I was saying that he said that you got to figure it out, right? And this we're going to get to the part of contention. Able to say something slick to you to try to evade around that situation with you or that child so they can keep this preconceived notion of you in their brains, right? So here you got a situation where you can't do that. You don't know what happened. She could have been married and her husband was abusive. Then you might have somebody like an Anton and say, well, you need to just figure it out and work it out. And telling you to be in an abusive relationship, which I totally agree with Yada when he says, leave. Now, that term that the brother looked at that I was saying was abusive. When people hear abusive, they automatically think about getting beat in the head. Abusive is not just getting beat in your head. Abusive is verbal. If someone is verbally attacking you, cussing you out every day, disrespecting you, degenerating you, treating you like you trash and you nothing, every day, treat you like you trash and you nothing. Anton says, figure it out. He gonna say it. Now, he did address it and said, of course, if the person beating you in your head, then yeah, you can leave. That's the only out he gave you. Other than that, he said, figure it out. Now, you said, well, I think you misjudging it for that. Well, we going to see. We're going to go right to Anton and Yada's discussion. But first, I want to see if I said anything else, because I think I do. It is talking about getting beat in the head. But when I'm talking about abuse, I'm not just talking about physical. I'm talking about verbal. Someone constantly verbally attacking you, that is abuse. Yada made it clear in that debate, which he demolished Anton in. He said, you should leave. Exactly.
Don't stay there and be with that man. He abusing you and doing all kind of crazy stuff to you that's abusive. And you got a brother telling you you should stay with him.
See? Not one time, I want y'all to see, not one time did I make it like I was talking about just getting beat upside the head. But for some reason, when people hear abuse, that's what they think, getting beat upside the head. Abuse if somebody calling you a B every day and disrespecting you and treating you like garbage in front of your children. What you supposed to do? Stay in that situation and let your children feel like that's normal life? That that's how it's supposed to be? Anton says yes. The only time he gives you the out is if the person is actually busting you in your head. Now, so far, I didn't say busting your head yet, but when the brother heard me say that, he automatically thought that I meant that guy is beating on a woman. It's not just beating on you with your hands. You can beat on somebody with your mouth. The words that you say out your mouth is rough. I know that saying sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt you. Well, I'm here to tell you, words hurt. Words hurt tremendously. Words hurt really, really bad. So let's get back. So I just want to make it clear what I said and how it got to that point, you know, which is how I'm going to do it whenever y'all break something. I'm not just going to go with it. I got to go back to it. Because I want to clarify what I'm saying. I did not say anything yet. This is the undoctored video. I'm right on YouTube looking at this video while I'm talking to you. This is live on YouTube. So let me go back to the video so y'all can see some more of what I said.
And make it work. Because y'all got some kids. No, you need to leave. Because what you teaching your children? You teach your children to just be in an abusive relationship because, hey, they got children?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. See? Same thing.
Like, somewhere we got to wake up and realize that we said crazy things.
I just want y'all to see.
Disagree with Anton with that all the way
I
around.
definitely disagree with him.
Well, you taking the most drastic part of it. Well, that's the part we dealing with.
Yeah. And that's another thing he say, well, y'all, you got to take the most drastic part. That's how stuff is. That's what the ancestors did. Whenever they was looking at the laws, yeah, the laws was there for everybody. But they always took it and pushed it to this extreme and that extreme so you would know how to work that law out in that situation. They never just left it up in the air, believing that human beings are going to be good and intentional and right. No, we're going to look at it from this extreme. We're going to look at it from that extreme. We're going to, from this to that, and we're going to come somewhere and figure out how we're going to do this. Same situation. So I can't say, well, it's about everybody. No, we got to look at the extremes because somebody going through that extreme and they listening and they need to know to get out. They need to know to move on. They need to know not to stay there. They don't need to have somebody tell them, figure it out. So we're going to go back again because I had to make sure. I said, did I say something about beating somebody in the head? I don't remember saying beat nobody in the head. I said, well, maybe I did. Let's look at that. Hey, we looking at it right now. I didn't say that. Let's keep going.
Can't just look at the good part. We got to always look at the bad part of what if this happens? We got to look for that exception. Because if that's what's happening, then we want to be able to tell people what to do in that situation. Because if you just say you got to stay no matter what, and they in a situation where somebody beating the mess out of them and doing.
Now, that's where I went to the beating the mess out of. That's where I went to the beating the mess out of, right? So initially, I'm talking about any abuse, verbal and physical. But now I went to the beating the mess out of, and I think this where the brother felt like the whole thing was talking about beating the mess out of. So we're going to go from there.
Crazy stuff to them. And you telling them to stay there. You setting them up for failure. So we got to be understanding of that it could be a situation. And this is with men too. So it's not just the women thing. We seen with Chris Brown and others and Lil Bow Wow, right? Just to bring up famous people, because a lot of regular people don't put their business out there for you to know. So you ain't gonna know what's going on with a lot of regular people unless you know somebody personally that's going through it.
All right, so now that's where I summed that up. So now I'm going to bring up Yada and them. So now I'm gonna bring up Yada and them on Hardly Initiated. Shout out to Hardly Initiated. I'm bring up Yada and them. And we're going to look at the situation or the conversation with Yada and them. And I was going to go right to where he wanted me to go to, which was 1 minute or 1 hour and 55 minutes in. Yeah, let me go to that. I'm gonna try to get down to that. Let me start it off. I want y'all to hear what Anton is saying before I do anything. I want y'all to hear for yourselves what Anton is saying.
There you have it.
We 100% disagree on this one.
Okay.
The previous two, we had some overlap and we had some agreements. This one, we don't. I like to get to the core root of the problem. And I think that what we do as a culture and as a society is we enable bad behavior by saying that it's okay. And it's not. It's not. The person that you have children with, the person that you have sex with, that's your husband, that's your wife. Before any of these Western modern laws that then incentivize people to get married, the person that you opened up your legs to was your husband. And
now, that's not biblical, but I get where the brother coming from, but that's not biblical. Where the person that you open your legs up to is your husband. Your parents, during biblical times, arranged your marriage. That's who your husband was, or it was made through them. That's how the spouses came about. It wasn't this situation he's saying where it was whoever you open your leg to. It's not accurate. Get where you're coming from with it. That's not completely accurate, Torah-wise.
And so we have too many broken homes, and we're trying to puzzle this thing and Tetris it together to justify that it makes sense. Now, is there circumstances, because I'm never going to speak on somebody else's situation. I speak in general. I don't know him. I would never speak on his children or his wife. That has nothing to do with me.
I appreciate
whatsoever,
that, brother.
Right? So I have the utmost respect for him and his family.
Thank you.
So I'm just speaking in general. All right. So I want to make sure that I preface that, because I don't want there to be any attacks. Right.
Understood.
But my point is that we need to get back to the core and the root, because if you removed the safety net, people would be more accountable for the things that they did and who they opened up their legs to. Right now, more than ever, there's a pandemic, an epidemic of women celebrating women having children out of wedlock.
That's true.
And we know that statistically speaking, that is a bad situation. You are more likely to end up in jail. You're more likely to join a gang. You're more likely to need therapy. You're less likely to be successful when it comes to future relationships. You're less likely to become a millionaire and earn as much. You're more likely to have debt as a result of student loan debt and things and so on and so forth. And so if we're going to solve for this problem as a culture, we have to remove the incentives for people to think that it's okay to have families outside of the covenant that God has ordained for us to have. Now, do circumstances happen? Absolutely. But it absolutely does not. That is not the majority. Most people are intentional. And let me address something else that he said. By the time that we are able to bust one.
Now, What he's saying, the Almighty ordained. He's trying to say ordained that whoever you open your legs up to, that's your husband or wife. That's your husband. About right. And you went in unto her, that's your wife. So forth and so on. I don't rock with him with that. Again, I see where he's coming from with that, but I can't say that's ordained. I can't say that's ordained because we know of situations where the Almighty did have situations where people, a prophet was raising children that wasn't his. The Almighty made him do it. This prophet name was named Hosea, right? And it was an awkward situation that the Almighty used to illustrate something. So we can't say what's ordained or what ain't ordained by the Almighty. We can go by what we think, but that might not necessarily be the truth. But I'm gonna let him keep going, getting closer to where he's going.
We know what's right and wrong. Mm-hmm. You know that you should not be having children out of wedlock. This is not something that we have to discover. At a very basic level, we know better. And that's why I can speak to men when I say,
now, he's right. We do know better. That's why it shouldn't be nobody having relations until you married. Not when you have relations with somebody you married to them. No, don't have relations until you married. That's Torah. And if you do that, then I see the law where he's coming from, where you now force, if you force yourself on a young lady, as Torah would say, you now forced to be with her forever and you can't divorce her. But we got to remember, divorce in ancient times was up to the man. Divorce in the ancient times ain't had nothing to do with the woman. It ain't matter if the woman wanted to leave, the woman was anything. It was the man. The husband had to give you the writ of divorce. The husband had to give you the get. He had to put that document in your hand. You couldn't just get up and leave because you wanted to. So it was a different time back then. Very different time. But I'm going to let him keep cooking.
The majority of men, especially black men, do not have children out of wedlock. That is a small minority of men that is populating the majority of these women, and we don't really want to hold them accountable because we know that women are.
Now, this is something I disagree with him on. This is something that I heard a lot within a red pill. They say it's a small group of men that's populating all this stuff. No, it ain't no small group of men. It's not a small group of men. They get the statistics, try to give these numbers. But even when I looked at the statistics with the brethren, what I showed them was a lot of these young girls are having babies by these older men. That's what's happening. A lot of these older men are getting young girls pregnant. And then when a guy's your age, because they try to do it based off of the guys in this age group and that age group. But we got to remember, a lot of these young girls are not marrying or not getting hooked up with dudes in their age group. And vice versa. But to the degree of what we talking about as far as statistics from pregnancy and marriage and so forth and so on, that's why it seemed like a lot of the young guys aren't the ones bringing about the children, because it's these old men, these dudes my age, and maybe a little younger than me, is getting these young girls pregnant and leaving them out to dry. And then they say, oh man, I need a good man. And then they try to hook up with the little young dude that's around their age. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot that play on that. We looked at the numbers, and I might go through that one day, go through the numbers and explain that with the numbers. We looked at the numbers, and through the statistics and the numbers, it showed that a lot of these young girls was actually being impregnated by older dudes. But that's a discussion for another time. But the way he put it out there just now, saying it's not the guys, it's the women, and it's a small group of men, and the men getting them. No. It ain't a small group of men. It's just the age groups are different. That's what it is. Age groups are different. But I digress.
Men are the biggest consumers. And so again, I'm not here to make people feel good. I'm here to tell them the truth. No, I do not think that a man needs to practice becoming a father to a child that's not his and trying to figure it out to negotiate and work with another man that wants to probably at some point participate in this child's life, because it is a zero-sum game. And I know so many people that regret the day that they ever decided to get into a relationship with a woman that then ultimately should have went back to her child's father. Go back to your child's father and work it out. Because that's the person that you created the covenant with. That's the person that you married according to God's law.
Now, again, that is not Torah. I'm sorry. He keeps saying that's God's law. No, it's not. That's not Torah. I don't know what preacher taught him that, but that is not Torah. Torah does not say that. Torah does not say that whoever you open your legs up to is your husband. We see that clearly in the case with Dana. Dana's legs was open, and we believe that she was taken and raped, or some will believe that it was out of the as Zion Lex teaches, that is out of how the marriage system was supposed to be set up, because you're supposed to come to the father first, say, can I get your daughter's hand in marriage? But that didn't happen in this situation. This guy seemingly took Dina as his own, had relations with her, and then turned around and came to the father and said, I want to marry your daughter. It was out of order the way he did it. And it was against the customs. So it's a custom and it's an order to marriage, which is the only reason why I'm bringing up the story of Dina. There's a lot more elements within that story of Dina. The main reason why I'm bringing up that story of Dina is because it's dealing with the covenant of marriage. So it's not just whoever you open your legs up to, that's your husband. Gotta go about it the right way. I'm gonna let him finish. We're getting close to the part that the brother brought to my attention.
Go fix it. That's what you need to do.
Now, what if a woman is saying that this man is just absolutely egregious? That's just somebody I was. It's not even something that I can repair, go back to.
It's not about you.
How do you give that woman?
It's not.
Now, this is where he begins. This is where he begins to touch on what I was saying. But I didn't want to just stop right here because I wanted y'all to see how it built up to get right here. This is where he's now touching on what I was saying. He's now touching on it. He's like, look, this is this and that is that. This is where he's touching on it, because the brother is saying, well, what if it was a situation like I said? What if she was going through something and she felt like, oh my goodness, I can't be with this man. This man was abusive verbally. He was taking, I can't go back to that situation. It was very, very toxic. Very toxic situation. I can't be there for the sake of me and my children. We had to get out. What are we supposed to do? Now, this is where he's going to begin to say what he's saying, because me and Yada heard what the brother was saying. He's saying, no, work it out, figure it out. This is what I was talking about. That the brother said, oh no, you looked at it the wrong way. That's why I said, let me rewind it back so we can look at the whole thing. So now we're going to get back to this. Now watch this. Watch what the brother's going to say. Watch what the brother's going to say.
It's not about her. It's about the child. Everything that you do at that point to bring somebody into this world that didn't ask to be here is what's best for the child.
Now, again, he said it's not about her, it's about the child. What's best for the child? So being in a toxic environment where it can spill over to your child is where you should be because of the child, you thinking about the child. I would think that you're thinking about the child. I don't want my child to see me in this type of environment with this woman talking crazy. Them take it from myself. If this woman talking crazy to me, cussing me out, trying to threaten me, and like she could pull knives on me, all kind of crazy mess to me, and I'm supposed to stay there with her because of the child? What are you talking about? It's not about me, it's about the child. It's not about the woman and whatever she might be going, it's about the child. Okay, let's finish.
You remove yourself. You got to put down with self and up with God. What is in the best interest of that child? Is it in the best interest of that child for you to be raising that child in a 2-parent household with the father? And if so, why didn't you think about that before you opened up your legs to him? Because we got over 100 different forms of contraception. It's not about how you feel. It's about the child.
Now, even with the contraception, a lot of times those contraceptions don't work. There's many times people had the, what's the name, Depo, whatever they call it, and still got pregnant. Had condoms, the condom bust. Had, was on birth control, still got pregnant some kind of way. So, okay. But I'm going to let him continue.
I do the thing that's in the best interest of my child, not me. I put myself last. But I also understand that the things that I do in my greatness, she's the beneficiary of it. And I would never, ever, under any circumstance, let another man raise my child.
And that's beautiful. What he's saying is beautiful. And he's coming from a place of being raised by mother and father. But you have so many women that never seen their father. They've never known that a woman.
Yeah, and not just women, but men. You had a lot of men, because men is in those situations too. Men is a part of that too. I don't want to just put it all on the sisters. Men are part of that situation too. There's a lot of men, especially brothers like they're coming from the hood, like myself, that they've never seen a dad at all. You might seen dads around other people, but you didn't personally have no dad in your life saying, hey, I'm your daddy, blah, blah, blah. So you got to put all that into perspective.
Women should get married before they have children.
They did, no.
Hold on, bro. Let me speak. Because majority of young girls are they're starting to lose their virginities at very young ages as children, looking to replace that feeling of not having a father. They just want to feel some form of masculine love. So if this child made a mistake at 15 or made a mistake at 16 by sleeping with the wrong man that promised her the world, oh, baby, I love you. Oh, baby, I'm thankful for you. Oh, baby, I'll never leave you. And she got into this woman's head because, like you said.
Now, the Torah calls it coaxing. Torah says that's the man, that's how the man can lead the woman into or coax her into having relations with him. That's what he's speaking on right now.
Fathers should know and teach their daughters right for wrong. You do agree, correct? Mm-hmm. So if the father isn't there and she's running behind a masculine energy and this man is saying, I love you, I'll never leave you, I'll never cheat on you. And she falls in love with this man now saying, I want your body. If you love me, let me get your body.
And that's what they do. That's what they do. Like, come on now. And 1 minute you say women not rational. And then the other minute you say, oh, they come on, let's figure it out. He is right. This is what they do. That's why they call them players from the Himalayas.
She doesn't know right from wrong because she didn't see no man growing up. Now she gives this man the body.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, bro.
Now a child is born. Mm-hmm. That means that this man right here that doesn't have any children should not get with her?
Absolutely not.
Come on, brother.
Absolutely not.
Come on, brother.
100%.
Come on, brother.
Yeah, so they try to deal with what y'all try to get her with now is, okay, she messed up. So what you said, she shouldn't be able to get a man. And he basically said, no, that man, it should be no man stepping in. She should just be on her own. And she messed up. And if she want a man, go back to the dude who got her pregnant.
Come on, brother.
Listen, At a very early age, I was never going to not have a child, or I was never going to.
Now, this is where it get a little anecdotal. I'm going to see if I can go past the anecdotal part, because I really want to get to the part where it became a part of contention that the brother seen, the brother spoke on and was like, no, you misunderstood. So I think it's about right here.
It's not on all men. That's bullcrap.
What's not on all men?
It's not on this whole narrative of what we see in the culture. This is not a black man thing. The majority of men. So stop making up this narrative of an abusive household. Was he abusive? Wait. No.
Now, this, see, here we go. This is going back because we kind of went away with it. Anton got a little anecdotal. I ain't want to focus on this anecdotal stuff. I want to get back to what we talking about. Now, this part right here that we about to watch, this is where it's going to get to the tension part that the brothers brought up to me and said, I think you looked at it the wrong way, so forth and so on. But this is where it's getting up to this point. So, he's saying that this narrative of abusive stuff is made up. No, abusive stuff happened. And not just for women, for men. Abusive stuff can happen for men and women. It can be in abusive situations. And we can't make it like, oh, it's just made up. It happens. Now, is it happening to everybody? We can't say it's happening to everybody, but it does happen. And we do need to address that because we have to let them know what they are to do as well. Can't just act like, oh, well, do. God, we got to address it. So let's go on.
No. That's what I'm saying. No, let me finish. This is my question to you. Right. Was he abusive before you opened up your legs to him?
Now, can I speak? That's cool with you?
I asked you a question.
That's good. Brother.
Go ahead, bro.
We have men that are some pro-finessers.
Go ahead. Yes.
They will give a woman a representation of themselves. Mm-hmm. And when they've got their hooks into the woman, they turn into something different.
Now, we gotta say that about the men, but it's women that do the same thing. As we seen in the videos from last week's show, so go back to last week's show, you see the videos in that, as we seen with those videos from last week's show. That's what happens. So you got the men that will fake it until he gets you. You also got the women that do the same thing. Same thing.
No woman in her right mind is going to be in a relationship with a man that's negative, Nancy, breaking her down mentally, physically, and spiritually, not providing for her financially. No. They get the hooks in her. And then when he feels like he's got her in love and all she knows is him, he turns into something different. Yep. All I'm saying to you, brother, this is what I want. No, I need you to hear.
And women do the same thing. I gotta add that in there, yada. Because it's gonna be brothers. Women do the same thing. There's women out there, they will play that role. You would think they the best thing out there, or they the jewel. It just see them, he's like, oh, you just be so happy. And then once they feel like they really got you, they turn into their real self, and you be like, what the? Where you come from? You're like, who are you? Who am I talking to right now? What's happening?
Hear this. I need you to hear this. Every woman that has had a child and is not with the man aren't bad people. And every man.
Exactly. We gotta hear that, because the picture that they paint is the opposite. Go ahead, brother. This brother meticulously diced that joint up. Go ahead, brother. Break it down. Break it down.
Man that had a child and not with the woman is not bad people. We keep saying a man shouldn't be with a woman that has children. Why? Because she have her children, but this man has children and children aren't with them. We have to make sense of this. Why do we keep saying, man, don't be with a woman with children, but we're not saying nothing by the man that's not taking care of his children?
Okay, hold
All right, so now you bringing in another option because it always do sound, you talk about the man, but it's men that got children that aren't with their children mother and their children are with them and nobody say nothing to the man. I got him, he's saying it's a double standard.
Or there for his children.
I want to actually ask that question right.
That's like a Little Mermaid movie that he just made right there.
Let me ask this real quick because I want to know if you also feel that the way about men as well because you got a daughter yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're giving her some instruction, would you pretty much instruct any woman? Is it the same rule that women should also stay away?
I would not tell a woman
men?
that don't have children to marry a man with children.
Okay.
I'm not biased on this. I'm consistent across the board. I don't think that it's in a could she possibly marry a good guy? Could a guy possibly marry a good woman that got absolutely but I would never advise it because I would never tell somebody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I'm consistent in that. And let me correct them for a minute.
Please.
Nobody said that they were bad people.
Okay.
That's just not your people. Everybody that's a good person is not for you. Everybody that's in a situationship is not supposed to be a part of your network. Every person that's doing something good or well, they don't deserve to necessarily be in your life because your journey is different. And so I never said anybody was a bad person, but I would never advise a man to do something that I wouldn't do myself, and I would never, ever go and talk to a woman that have children
Well,
with
when you
another
say
man.
they're not
and
your
I believe
So all right, so I get him with that when you talk about the good people thing and so forth, and we now getting closer and closer to where I want to be. So I'm just want to just keep it building on that memento. But to be fair, he didn't say that, and just like what I said, when I said what I said, I didn't say, oh, just getting beat upside the head. You know, I did felt like that at first, like that's where he was going. Remember that thing, but then he is going to address that, and we see that in a
People, what does that mean?
and what I would tell her is to go back with your child's father. And it doesn't mean that she can't have love. If you can finesse a man into doing it, then do so. But I would never advise my guys to do that.
When you
ever.
say not your people, what does that mean?
It can mean
what
anything.
does that mean?
It can mean that we're not equally yoked. Maybe we don't need to do business together. Maybe we are going in two different directions. Maybe we have two different belief systems. It's a lot of different things that can identify whether or not a person is your person or your people and not.
Okay, so are you telling people they should be in relationships even though it's toxic just
No.
because of the show?
Yeah, so that's where we go, because we keep going back. It's like he's skating around it. We got to pin him down. We got to pin him down on this issue.
Child?
I never said that.
So when should they
Okay.
part ways?
Yeah,
I
when
don't
should
think that they
part
should have got it
ways?
together in the first place because you know who a
If we're
person
already there, brother.
So he said, see how he tried to skate around it? He like, okay, you in a toxic relationship, right? The relationship is toxic. What should I do? Should I leave or should I stay? That's why he asking him. He said, well, they should have never got together in the first place. That's not what we asking. They got together. They went against it. They got together. Now it's toxic. What should the person do? Should he or she stay or should they leave? That's what we asking. That's what we want to know.
Wait,
If we're already there.
I specifically said, no, I don't address if we already there.
Right.
I
This is what
address,
we're talking about. We're talking about adults,
I address.
Gotta address if you
Literally.
already there.
You-
How you not gonna address already being there? You already there. You already in a toxic relationship. You can't say, well, I ain't gonna address that. See what I'm saying? Can you really say I ain't gonna address that? Come on, come on. And this is where me and I felt where Yada was going. This is where we was just looking like, what are you saying right now? Because I was looking at, I remember when I first seen this during the summer, and I was like, wait a minute, what is he saying right now? What's happening?
You have to take ownership and responsibility for
Right.
it. I don't believe that people are getting finessed like you painted the picture. I believe, because that's to say that women aren't smart. Because how did you get so smart afterwards, but you wasn't smart enough to be able to identify that he was a POS when you got with him?
I mean, I hear you with that.
Literally,
That it is good the way he tried to throw that. See how he tried to shade that. Oh, they're saying women not smart, right? He tried to shade them, and later he gonna come back and say they don't even know about their emotions and postpartum. He gonna throw that out there. But now, when you get in the court, I say women not smart. You know, no. You know what I'm saying? Look how Yada like this brother smooth. Yada like this brother right here is smooth. Boy, Anton, I'll give it to Anton, the smooth brother, boy.
Telling y'all that y'all idiots.
That is not
You're not an idiot. You're not dumb. Most women know who the dude is that they got with and who they chased before they got with him and opened up their legs to him. You know that.
You know the sad part?
That's why they say get married. Marry before you carry. That's why they say that.
So let's, because I get you pretty much talking prevention.
Correct.
Not necessarily in the situation, but I actually want to go to the situation because right now our culture.
And that's what we saying. We not talking about prevention. We talking about you there. You in it. You in it now. It's too late. You already in it. What you supposed to do?
Is facing this situation in large numbers, Anton. So I want to get your consult for the people now in the situation because we get your stance, not putting.
We got your stance. Don't get into it.
But here's the thing.
He said, "Go back to your child father." See what I'm saying?
As well, to Yada's point, that the brother is at this point not working on himself.
Exactly.
Pretty much unqualified at this point to lead and manage a family. May not even have the desire to. Do you still recommend that woman put herself in that position, or should she?
In what position specifically?
To
go back to that guy.
This type of man.
What are you
or
talking
should she go about parting ways and trying to find, just run it, be a single mom?
Listen, I took my vows serious. I don't believe in parting ways.
See, keep going back to anecdotal. Let's get out the anecdotal and just, okay, let me let him get anecdotal. He can't help it. Go ahead and get anecdotal.
Till death do us part in sickness and in health, for richer or for poor.
These are single women, though, by the way.
Well, you said part ways.
Well, again, a woman who got pregnated by a man, they're not married.
That's your husband. That's your husband. What are we talking about? You can't take it back. Ain't no take backs. We in this. It's me and you till we die. We gonna figure it out.
I don't believe I'm hearing this.
No. They asked me the question.
I never believe I'm hearing this.
We gonna figure it out. We gonna work it out. We gonna do it. We gonna make it happen. We gonna take on.
This is what I was thinking the same thing. Like, what is going on? She made we gonna figure it out till we done. This is the part I was talking about in the video where he said we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. And like I said, figure it out. What are you talking about? This is the part he's talking about.
On the world, and we gonna take over the world. It's some things that we gonna have to figure out together. But you just can't leave after you got somebody pregnant. You can't leave after you get pregnant. What you talking about? That's your husband.
Man, listen, hold on.
That's your husband.
Listen to me. Listen to me, ladies. If you're in a relationship with a man, you're pregnant, or if you have children by this man, and this man is not being a man in your life, leave him. If this man is breaking you down mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, leave him and make sure he gets himself together. And if he can't get himself together to keep you in his life, that's not the man for you. Leave. I don't care what this brother talking about. That makes no sense, and it's devilish. It's too many women being killed by toxic men because they want to stay for emotional reasons of the children. Think about yourself, because you can't properly protect your child if you're being abused on any type of level, if you're not being provided for on any type of level. Love yourself enough to know when to leave. If not, you will pour this childhood trauma onto your child.
And that's the whole point of what I was trying to bring out. Now that he brought it to that focal point, this is what the sages do when we looking at the text. You know what the rules are. Now we bring it to this focal point where you got to make a decision. Got to make a decision here or there. No jumping around, no flipping, no misunderstanding. What are you deciding to do? He forced his hand. So now that he forced his hand, he's going to have to say yay or nay. And we're going to see, as the brother pointed out to me, that he didn't say stay with the young lady. I mean, stay with the man if you being abused. And of course, brothers in the same way, if you being not abused, but if you being beaten on. That's what he's going to say. He going to leave the abused part alone because he probably feel like that's too vague. He going to deal with the beating part. You getting bust in your head. Then he gonna say, of course, leave. And that's what the brother brought to my attention. It's like, brother, no, he gonna say, do you leave if he getting busted in the head? So here we go with that.
We use extreme words, and in order for him to even survive this debate, he got to use extreme words like abuse.
Oh, come on, bro.
Right? Because again, we're supposed to be talking to.
And abuse is not an extreme word, and you gotta deal with abuse in a situation. Like, we can't act like it's not there or it doesn't happen. You can't. You can't act like that it's not there or it doesn't happen. And we're not just talking about getting beat on abuse, but that's gonna be the focal point right here. But let's keep going.
To the majority, not the minority. People leave each other because they don't like each other, or because it's a difficult financial situation, or because they fall out of love, or because they have lust for somebody else. Of course, there are extreme circumstances.
Now, those are other reasons that people leave each other, but those aren't the only reasons people leave each other. Those are some of the reasons people leave each other, but those aren't the only reason. Also, it's a thing called physical and mental and emotional abuse is another reason why people leave. And a lot of times people don't even report it. Men hardly say anything about it at all. That's why I gave last time I talked about that issue with Bow Wow, the little Bow Wow, what happened with him. How instead of people looking at it, say, dang, that woman was wrong, they clowned little Bow Wow for getting abused by that woman. They clowned him. And that's why brothers don't normally say nothing. They just be like, I'm just out of here. I'm not even dealing with that. Shorty pulling knives out. Shorty threatening my life. Shorty just real violent, doing crazy stuff. And you supposed to stay there. Figure it out. Wake up one day with that joint stuck in your chest. Did you figure it out yet?
Where you don't stay in a situation. If you're getting beat up on, because that goes without saying, we shouldn't even have to address that. Of course you shouldn't stay in an abusive situation. But again, he's using extreme versions of the conversation.
Now, he says, of course, if you getting beat up on it, this is where the brother wanted me to stop it. I'm like, boom, got him. See, told you. He ain't say stay when you getting beat up on. But again, he not talking about verbal abuse. He not talking about emotional abuse. He just talking about physical. What about the verbal and emotional? Because that's what we all looking and dealing with. And y'all are going to hear that he didn't say nothing about the verbal or emotional. He going to go back to his same stance. Watch this.
In order to be able to survive, when in reality, we talking about people that's just walking away because they don't like the person, or they don't like his financial situation, or they don't like what it is that they think that is going on in his life or her life, or she see her friend and she get influenced by it. That's what we talking about.
And that's not exactly what we talk about. That's what you talking about. That's the things that you focusing on that you might have seen in your life. But coming from the other side of the coin, other people seen other.
Most people are not just walking away because, oh man, every man, come on, man.
A woman does not walk away from a place where she feels happy and she's stable on each and every level. A woman will never walk away from a man where she feels secure on each and every level. His man stepped out of a fantasy.
Look, extremes. Now,
I don't want to say, we got to look at the extremes. Got to. You might don't want to because you want to be able to keep yourself in this little realm of, as Yada say, a fantasy. We got to look at the reality of what's happening out here too. There's a reality that's happening.
We saying that a woman will never walk away from a man if she feels secure. Most women don't even know what they don't even feel like themselves after they have a child and they got postpartum. Come on.
Now, that's a mental situation that's happening. And he know that, but he threw that out there anyway. Ain't that an extreme, going to postpartum? But again, that's something that we had to deal with. Of course, if a woman has got postpartum, then you got to deal with that, right? But that's a mental disorder that happens. But now the same guy that said, oh, you trying to say women dumb? You trying to say, now he's saying women don't even know how to feel. And then he used postpartum like it just was something basic and regular, which is not.
Oh, brother. No. Tell me it's not true.
No. You're right.
Most women don't.
Yeah, and of course we agree with that, but that's a medical situation. So that's not most women. Most women don't have postpartum.
Don't even know what they feel like when they have postpartum. And a lot of times these women are leaving situations when a child is an infant, when they're young. So if we talking about feelings, because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about purpose. See, love is not about how you feel.
Right.
Love is what you do.
I agree.
And so it's an endurance test. Even the word of God. The prize isn't given to the person that run the swift. It's given to the person that endureth to the end. It's not a feeling. You might feel some type of way right now. That's why the word says that you can't let the sun go down on your wrath, because you then have to absolve for that. Because when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be a completely different person, right? So I'm not going off of feelings. I'm going based off of what is the current situation. And again, it's not about me. It's about the child. So you may feel a certain type of way right now, but we're going to work this out. We not leaving. We not getting divorced. Again, we going to use his extreme example of getting your head cracked in. Don't stick around when you're getting your head cracked in. But I'm speaking to the majority.
But it wasn't just getting your head cracked in. It was talking about emotional and verbal abuse. You leaving that part out and just talking about the head crack.
Don't just leave just because you feel a certain type of way about a man.
Ladies. If you feel unsafe,
there you go. We gotta go back to it. If you feel unsafe, gotta go back to it. It's not about just getting busted. If you feel like it might happen, if you feel like this, you come on now. Like he try to laugh like it's no big deal, but we gotta deal with what it is. Of course, once somebody already busted your head, it's too late. Now he doing what you doing. Remember you said a prevention? Gotta deal with prevention. We gotta deal with prevention. Now he's dealing with prevention. Before he get to that point of you getting busted in your head, leave. Before he get to that point of you getting choked out, leave. Before he get to that point, brothers, of you getting stabbed up, leave.
if this man is not leading you to the best version of yourself, if he's not being that guide, that leader, and that protector, leave that man. I don't care about no form of fantasies, period. And men, if you're doing everything you know to do for your woman, to keep her happy, to love her, to protect her and guide her, and she's still doing things that you don't recommend, or she's going out there doing things she has no business doing, leave that woman. If not, your children will reap the hurt and the pain of that cycle. We have to break these generational curses. We have to.
This man is going to have.
All right, and then we're going to leave it right there. Y'all want to see it, I got all this in the description. Excellent show, right in the description if y'all want to see the full video. This full video was 2 hours and a half, over 2 hours and a half long. Not going to be able to even get through the rest of this part because time is now up. Exactly 10 minutes over the time. So we want to just end it right here. And I appreciate each and every one of you for logging on and being here with me tonight. Really, really happy that y'all are here. Happy that y'all support me. Y'all helping my numbers to get up. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please help to get this out so we can have these type of conversations and look at it from a Torah perspective and what it is that we ought to do. Gotta look at it from a Torah perspective, what it is that we ought to do. We gotta keep it real. We don't want to be in fantasies. We want to keep it real and have real discussions. And you know, you as my brother did last week, he saw something that he felt was wrong, and now I'm addressing it this week. And again, if it's something else that anybody else might feel is wrong with any show, just let me know and we can talk about it and discuss it. Because that's what I'm about on this channel. I'm about transparency. I'm about doing things the right way. All right, so before we leave, we gotta mellow it down with our artist of the week. Love this sister. I love her music. May she rest in Shalom. Beautiful, beautiful soul. This is our sister Ahdaiyah. Sister, please, joy. Amen, amen, amen. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul. A whole album is awesome. I got everything in the description for. Please, please, just get her music in it. I guarantee it'll uplift your spirit and your soul. Thank you for making tonight a beautiful episode. I will see you all tomorrow for our Torah portion Friday. Torah portion Friday tomorrow. So I'll see y'all. Being said, bid you all shalom.
Shema Yisrael Adonai